And this is called the art of persuasion. Something interesting to keep in mind, and that is, there is a difference between presentation and persuasion. First you learn to make a presentation, then you learn the art of persuasion. Because I got a little faked out on this at first. Right, when I first got in sales, Mr. Schoaf got me involved in sales first. He got me involved in home building and land development and manufacturing and all kinds of things. Schoaf was an entrepreneur. He did a lot of things. One of the tips he gave me was, find a unique person and build a company around them, instead of starting a company and trying to find somebody unique. I've tried it both ways, right? And he had a lot of tips. But he got me in sales. He said, look, try sales for a while because you'll learn more about human behavior in sales than anywhere else. You'll run into this incredible variety of people. And he said, you'll just learn. It's worth a university education to get in sales. Talk to people from all walks of life, people with all kinds of problems, happy people and sad people, people that don't need any help, people need lots of help. Just get out there and see the people. He said, you'll get educated about human behavior and life and what's going on, how to identify. Just find out about life by getting out there and mixing it up in sales. And I found out he was right. And he gave me this great hope. He said, you know, most people are nice. In fact, he said, there's only about a half a dozen real nasty, horrible, miserable people in the world. That's what he said. Now, he said they move around a lot. And you're liable to run into one once in a while. But he said, hey, look, most people are nice. You're going to have a great time out there. Get out there and see what life is all about. So I got this incredible education in sales. But he gave me this, you know, how to make a good presentation. And I got pretty good at it. In fact, I used to hear people say, hey, you got to be one of the world's great salesmen. I thought, wow, the man has taught me well. Somebody else would say, hey, I've heard them all. You got to be one of the best. I thought, I've got it made. And then one day, the awful truth dawned on me. I said, wait a minute, something's wrong. If I'm one of the world's great salesmen, how come they ain't buying? I was getting faked out. See, I was being congratulated for my presentation. I had yet to master the art of persuasion. So there's a difference between presentation and persuasion. There were two great orators of antiquity. One was Cicero. He was Roman. The other one was Demosthenes. He was Greek. And they were both great orators, great speakers. But it was said of Cicero, when he spoke, everybody said, what a great speech. It was said of Demosthenes, when he spoke, everybody said, let us march. And that's the difference between presentation and persuasion. And if you haven't picked up this phrase yet, now's the time to put it here. Results is the name of the game. If I can persuade you for results. Some people teach for others to learn. Some people teach for others to use. Hopefully I fall in the latter category. I don't want to know you're great on this stuff 6 months from now. I want to read your bank balance 6 months from now. Your style, your language, the changes, the results, tangible, intangible, progress, steps. See, that's what it's all about. Results is the name of the game. And here's the art of persuasion. Let me give you a few simple keys to remember in learning the art of persuasion. First of all, become a good storyteller. It's one of the best ways to persuade is to use stories. Jesus, master teacher, was the great storyteller of all time. He said the kingdom of heaven is like a man, it's like a woman, it's like this, it's like this. Always telling a story, human stories to illustrate what you're trying to get across. So become a good storyteller. Now, to be a good storyteller, you got to collect stories. It's one of the reasons for your journal. Okay? It's one of the reasons for your journal is to collect stories. Just don't miss any of the stories that can help you. You just keep this handy and just jot down little things that come your way so you don't miss them. I was in San Diego one time. Doesn't have the date on here, but I wrote, Richard Pryor finally made enough money to get the stuff that almost killed him. He was working with some expensive stuff. Hopefully he's survived it all. But just gather up the stories. If I had some right handy here, I'd give you some. Now, a daily journal doesn't mean you write in it every day, but it does mean you've got it handy. I wrote something from Bernard Shaw. People are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. He said, I do not believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they cannot find them, they make them. Well said, Bernie. Just pick up the stories. I'm flying from Madrid to New York. A spectacular view of Lisbon. As we left for New York, I couldn't see the Rock of Gibraltar. I kept searching for it and couldn't see it. I have just read the news. Steve McQueen is dead. We were the same age. My good fortune goes on. I hope to be as good at my craft as he was at his. And I wrote some things here about La Coruña in northern Spain. What an incredible place. Galicia. Keep your journal handy. Gather up the stories, your impressions, so that you can tell the stories of where you've been and who you've met and things you've read. Okay? Learn to be the teller of stories. It doesn't take much of a story. What was I trying to illustrate? Oh, we all need a little help. I was illustrating that one time. I said, I remember when I was a little bitty kid, the first day I decided I could ride a bicycle. I know I'm too little for my feet to touch the ground. But I thought, I can ride one of those things. I'm just little. I said, I just need two things. First, I need somebody to hold it so I can get on. Now that I'd figured out, because I couldn't figure out how I could get on it and get going by myself. But I said, if somebody's to hold it and let me on it and then give me a push, I could ride it. Right? I knew getting off was easy, right? Just fall off. I mean, that's easy, right? I've already learned that art. But I figured out if somebody held it, if I got on it and they gave me a push, I could ride it. So it doesn't take much of a story. Just be a storyteller. It'll get the point across. Okay? So be a gatherer of stories. Next. The art of persuasion is correct handling of the facts. Don't exaggerate. The correct information. Nothing destroys credibility like a misuse of the facts. If it's 100, it's 100. If it's 500, it's 500. Make sure the numbers are correct and the facts are correct. Your meticulous sticking to the facts will make this credibility so strong. Okay, next is quotes. Learn how to quote. Sometimes you can't say it quite as well yourself as someone else has said it. So be a gatherer of quotes and learn quotes that can help to illustrate whatever you're wanting to say. And quotes are also a good attention getter. Do you notice how, you're just going along in conversation and you quote something? People just listen a little better when you quote. You quote a poem or a sentence or a saying or something. It's really helpful in the art of persuasion, getting attention. It also shows you've done your homework. You are really interested enough in your subject to gather up the quotes on the subject. So use quotes. I have quotes, right, sprinkled throughout that whole evening seminar. One of them was, Benjamin Disraeli once said, "Nothing can resist a human will." Remember that one? That will stake even its existence on the extent of its purpose. See, that's well said. Just learn the quotes, capture them in your journal, and then rehearse them and repeat them till they become part of you. And sure enough, you'll find all kinds of uses for the stuff you've captured and practiced, captured and practiced. In Salt Lake City the other day, I was doing a seminar, and I was talking about the truth, and I remembered Churchill's quote, "The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, and ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is." See, that's well said. You could sit up all night and not think of that, right? I mean, that's good. Good quotes. So learn how the quotes and the poems are just, they're heavy, they're good stuff. Whether it's fun or whether it's serious, just learn all the quotes. Once in a while I use the one, when Judy and I parted, I'll tell you a little bit more about that tomorrow. When Judy and I parted about 5-6 years ago, the most incredible experience of my life was when I was married to Judy. But after we parted, I wrote her a little letter, and it was only a half a page long. But at that time, it expressed some unique thoughts that I had and feelings that I had. And it went like this. Dear Judy, as often as the night comes, so does my sadness. As constant as the day arrives, so is my love for you. I wish for you, and I wish the best for you, and I understand that dilemma. The mixture of both love and sadness startles me. My life is here where you touched me. If ever you should call, I will be there to be touched again. It was very brief, it was very short, but at the moment, it said what I wanted to say. And for a long time after that, I wouldn't quote it on an occasion like this, but finally that experience has taken its rightful place in my life, and now I'm able to do it. But something you write yourself, write it out and then rehearse it. If it sounds good, and then use it. Express yourself on paper. Then go over it till it takes root in your mind and your heart and starts to grow. And sure enough, daily in conversation, all kinds of occasions you'll have to quote something that you've written, a couple of verses of something. But use quotes. They're so good because some people have said it so well. And if you practice, you can say something so well that it'll get the point across. It'll cover the subject. It'll do the job. So quotes.